Okay, welcome everyone to the Commissioners meeting for August 19th, 2020. I'll call the meeting to order, and today we once again have our distinguished veteran, Don Bradley, to lead us in the pledge, and our esteemed colleague, John Kleindance, County Engineer, to lead us in the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all.
Morning. We be in an attitude of prayer. Lord, as our county's leaders meet and deal with issues both regular and extraordinary, both social unrest and a pandemic, and business as usual, we ask that you be with them. Keep them strong and guide them to continue to make the best decisions as they have done. Give them understanding as they debate issues and crises. Give them integrity as they deal with others. Give them empathy as they deal with us, their constituents, and give them courage. You know that the burdens and responsibilities that they bear are greater than we can even know. Bless and guide and protect them as they serve the people of York County, and bless and protect all of our first responders who stand in harm's way to serve us. All of these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Okay, we'll move on to item 4 on the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through F as listed below.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5.
I'll make a motion to approve an easement agreement between the County of York on behalf of the York County Public Works Department and East Manchester Township located at John Rudy County Park for temporary construction and permanent agreement to install stormwater drainage to the rear of John Rudy County Park to follow Dellinger Road and park property.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I know Barry's here, and John, any
Any
you want to share
comments?
anything?
Barry, you want to maybe say what we're doing here, but John Rudy?
The township came to us about 2 years ago. They're having water is coming off the road, coming from other properties onto their road, and in turn it does come on our property, on the county's property. So it's actually a good thing. It's going to follow the property line and down their road the whole way around, and they're going to connect into a system that they already have further down behind Rudy Park. So what they're right along the road, right along the right-of-way. Doesn't have no interference with us and what we do. So
Is Dellinger Road the one behind that goes by the dog park?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And right above the entrance to the dog park is where their system already starts and goes down. So they're just connected into that is what they're doing.
Okay,
So-
good.
So it's a good program. I'm glad to see it going to go through.
Thank you.
Great. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6.
Make a motion to approve a purchase between the County of York on behalf of Fleet Management and Whitmoyer, Mountjoy, Pennsylvania, for two 2021 Chevrolet Equinox for use by the York County Conservation District at a cost of $24,900 each for a total cost of $49,800 under a PA CoStarz contract.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
That money was already budgeted for, correct? Okay.
The question Commissioner Smith asked was this budgeted for, and Mark said yes. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7.
Make a motion to approve a purchase between the County of York on behalf of the Information and Technology Services Department and Continental Technologies, Inc., Hunt Valley, Maryland, for a statement of work for Office 365 implementation services for a total cost of $19,584.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8.
I make a motion to approve a purchase between the County of York on behalf of the Facilities Management Department and Lobar Associates, Inc., Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, to replace the carpet in the main office area of District Court 190205 Spring Garden at a cost not to exceed $15,210.09 under the Keystone Purchasing Network Program.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
And Scott, is this just standard operating procedure for the replacement of carpet in one of our DG offices? Okay.
So our facilities director commented that it's in the budget and this is standard practice. You're welcome. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9.
I make a motion to approve a purchase between the County of York on behalf of the Department of Emergency Services and Prism IPX Systems, Alpharetta, Georgia, for a message gateway software for fire and EMS paging systems for a total cost of $104,480.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I believe, just for clarification, if I recall correctly, that is for the necessary upgrades.
Great. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10.
I make a motion to approve a purchase between the County of York on behalf of the Facilities Management Department and Lobar Associates, Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, for the removal and replacement of steps and a landing on the northwest corner of the Administration Center. Side steps will then be replaced with concrete and the entire area caulked. This work will not exceed $16,600 and will be done utilizing the Keystone Purchasing Network program.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
And Scott, we've had a lot of work done out in the front here over the years. Can you explain what the problem is? And
I'll be glad to. You're right. We've been chasing some leaks out there in the front for a good number of years. And I guess if there was one good thing that came out of that massive storm that we had on August the 7th, that Friday, it finally allowed us to pinpoint where that water's coming into the building from. And it's actually, that landing, when you go out that emergency stair tower, had been skim coated in the past. And when it was done, it actually leans or tilts back towards the building. So it's bringing water back, and it found its way down into the IT department where those porticos actually meet the old, or the facility that was constructed in 1957. So this work will pull that. There's actually 2 small steps and a landing there. It will pull that all out, and then they'll pour and form. We'll obviously tilt it away from the building so the water can shed away, and then caulk everything there. And we're 98% confident that that will stop our leaks once and for all.
And we did previously have a leak over in the elections office. Is that taken care of?
We have not seen, yes, we believe that that might finally be, we haven't seen, and in that storm on August the 7th, we had no rain get in over there. So we have 3 feet of drywall out. It hasn't rained. We're not putting the drywall back in. We're just saying that's why it's not coming in there anymore.
All right.
Any further comments or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11.
I make a motion to approve a contract agreement between the County of York on behalf of the Clerk of Courts and Court Funds, North Logan, Utah, to provide victim restitution, payment, disbursement, and customer service for a total cost of $18,000.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I know Dan Byrnes, our Clerk of Courts, here today to share a few comments on this motion.
So what this is there is a cost of $18,000. What we're going to do is this is for processing victim restitution payments. So every month we're doing approximately 1,700 payments to crime victims, getting their money back to them. We're bringing in about $1 million a month at this point. So even though there is a cost of $18,000, we ran our own internal survey to see what does this actually cost for us to process these payments. And we'll be looking at an annual net savings after that $18,000 of over $80,000 a year. That's what we're going to save in our office while providing a better service, because now every crime victim can choose to have a paper check, a new account that's in their name, FDIC insured, or transferred electronically directly into their existing account. So this is the first of what we hope to be many cost-saving initiatives that provide a better service to the public.
Great, thank
Thanks.
you. Any further discussion? Certainly like net savings. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12.
Motion to approve a contract agreement between the County of York on behalf of Information and Technology Services Department and Link Computer Corporation, Bellwood, Pennsylvania, to provide Cisco Collaboration Software Enterprise Agreement licensing. The Commissioners will approve the agreement and a letter agreement outlining modifications to the agreement as negotiated by the parties for a total cost of $285,283 for the period of August 21st, 2020 to August 20th, 2024, paid annually at $71,320.95.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 13.
Motion to approve a contract between the County of York and the York County Public Defender's Office and Thomson Reuters or Westlaw Pro Software to provide online legal research for the Public Defender's Office and County Solicitor's Office for a total cost of $58,375.31 for the period of October 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2024.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'd ask Michelle maybe to comment on this. Is this an upgrade of legal information or?
It actually is, I want to say, a renewal. So the Public Defender's Office was up for renewal of its legal research system. And so it went out and looked at really the two systems that are out there. And in reviewing it, he was going to increase the number of licenses available with this company, which is Thomson Reuters. And in doing that, we were able to link in the solicitor's office until he needs to use all of those licenses. So it's a better system. It's a better research system than what they were using, but their contract expires in October.
I don't know, Kyle's back in the back, but I guess I just asked, like the DA's office with all the lawyers they have, do they participate in the same?
I think we each office has separate systems. So the conflict counsel office has a separate system, and we each engage in separate contracts, really, based on the way that it's budgeted and each department's needs, because it's not exactly the same research system. You can access different parts of a research system, whether it's federal, state, statutory, case law. So I think each department, it's based upon their needs.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 14.
Motion to approve an amendment to purchase a services agreement between the County of York on behalf of the Youth Development Center and Cumberland County Children and Youth Services, extending the term 1 year or until a subsequent fiscal year agreement is executed.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 15.
Motion to approve agreements between the County of York on behalf of the Youth Development Center and the below-listed counties to house youth at a daily rate of $375.60 for the period of July 1st, 2020 through July 30th, 2021, and they are Lebanon County, Dauphin County, County of Adams.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. I know Kyle King is here from our district attorney's office. Did you want to speak regarding this motion? No, I'm sorry. The next one? Okay. Since there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 16.
Motion to approve the submission of a grant application on behalf of the District Attorney's Office to the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, for a total grant amount of $1,269,037 for salaries, benefits, training, and supplies for 11 victim/witness coordinators for the period of January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion, a second. Now we'll hear from Kyle King.
Good morning.
Morning.
Sorry for the confusion.
Okay.
Let me get my stuff here so I can actually see. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
This motion here, again, pays for 11 victim witness coordinators, salaries, training supplies, and most of their benefits, which is, as you can see here, with just over $1.2 million, certainly offsets what would be another $1.2 million into our county budget and the taxpayers of this county. I do want to, and while that's important, I want to put that in context as far as what that means, as far as and what our victim witness unit does for the county of York. Last year, this victim witness unit served 7,146 victims for both the adult and juvenile systems. 41,368 services were provided to victims and witnesses. Victims and witnesses were accompanied to 3,598 court proceedings. Victims and witnesses were updated on the status of their cases, both pre and post-conviction, 29,788 times. For this most recent quarter, most of which from April 1st to July 31st, during this COVID-19 shutdown, the same unit served 1,019 new victims and witnesses, while many throughout the Commonwealth, I can guarantee you, were not likely providing that same service. And it couldn't have happened on a better day than having Dan here in his motion, because of the efforts of his office and their staff and what they are doing to collect money. We receive an additional $455,590 that is allocated back to us separate from this, which is a variable penalty assessment monies, which is a direct correlation to the work of he and his office. And so I want to make mention of that because out of the 67 counties, York County receives the most money back in victim services. And again, this is a collaborative effort. I can't say enough good things about our victim witness unit and the work they do, which is very difficult work, obviously. Anytime we're engaging with people, it's most of the times at a worst time in their life. And so to have, Dan, to have you and your staff, what you guys do, we certainly appreciate it. And again, I think we're the 8th largest county, and so to be receiving the most money back from that is certainly a credit to a lot of individuals. So thank you. And I'll stay up here. I think I have 2 more motions.
My only question is, it's a lot of money and it's a great grant and we get it. When we talk about grants, are these competitive grants or will we be figuring this in the budget for next year?
This one may have been at some point in time. I can tell you I've been here 14 years, going on my 15th budget, we have had this money for my entire time in the DA's office. And so, again, there's been no indication that these monies are going to go away. Now, over that course of time, it has fluctuated up and down, but over the last few budget cycles, that money has certainly increased, which has allowed us to offset more of that county budget.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And just for those employees watching in the Clerk of Court's office and the District Attorney's office, thank you for all you're doing to make things like this possible. Those are fantastic numbers. Number 17.
Motion to approve a project modification on behalf of the District Attorney's Office for a no-cost 12-month extension for the county prison live scan fingerprinting project in order to use grant funds as intended to cover the first billable year of maintenance fees.
I'll second the motion.
Motion and a second.
And again, as you'll see on the next two motions, these were collaborative efforts between our office and the York County Prison. To this one specifically, both we were essentially had to push money off because of COVID-19 and us not being able to expend those funds in the time that we were originally intended to do so. But I will mention for this one, what the live scan fingerprinting project allowed us to do is put a live scan fingerprinting machine terminal in the York County Prison. We currently have one in the Sheriff's Department, and why that was important, one, it's more efficient if we already have prisoners out there, and then it's saving transportation costs each and every time into the Judicial Center, and also better off for security purposes, not having to transport them. So I just wanted to make mention of that while we were on this one.
Great. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 18.
Motion to approve a project modification of the Intelligence and Security Project on behalf of the DA's office and the York County Prison for a no-cost 12-month extension in order to allow project participants to complete plan trainings that were canceled due to COVID-19 pandemic restrictions.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second, and back to Kyle.
And again, the only thing, I already said this was a collaborative effort between us and the York County Prison. The only thing I want, obviously, with their intelligence and security folks, they do work very closely with our intelligence analysts and county detectives, which has certainly made for a better product, I think, for both what they're doing out at the York County Prison as well as us and law enforcement throughout the community. So I just wanted to make mention of that and thank certainly Warden Dahl and his staff.
Great. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Kyle. Item number 19.
Motion to ratify the approval of the fiscal year 2019-2020 Act 148 invoice covering July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020 on behalf of the York County Office of Children, Youth, and Families to the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services Office of Children, Youth, and Families in the amount of $52,065,258.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I see Evelyn isn't here from Children, Youth, and Families, but Mark, this is pretty much standard operating procedure to submit this invoice?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 20.
Motion to approve the check register for the week of August 19th, 2020, totaling $8,950,804.69.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 21, there were no executive sessions between our last two meetings. So we'll move on to other business. The first thing that we have under other business is a continued discussion around CARES Act funding. I'm going to ask Rebecca to put a slide up there. Just to remind everyone, and for those who may have not seen this previously, the Board of Commissioners voted back on July 15th to approve 11 allocation categories for the CARES funding that we received from the state, which was $40.5 million. Those are the 11 allocation categories up there. The Board of Commissioners then proceeded to allocate $14 million to a Restart Grant Fund that's being led in conjunction with the York County Economic Alliance and the Community First Fund, allocating $10 million to small businesses and $4 million to nonprofits. I know Silas Chamberlain is here and will speak a little bit later on how the grant process is going. I know we've been doing a lot of webinars to educate the community. So after that, the Board of Commissioners then approved two funding for two feasibility studies, up to $150,000 each. One was for infrastructure and broadband, and the other was in the healthcare services bucket around the feasibility study for a countywide health department. These were all, again, concerns, issues, things that were brought forward in the Recovery Task Force report, which was completed back in May with a lot of our community leaders and residents. So the Board of Commissioners continues to rely on that report to help guide them in our decisions that we make here publicly around the CARES funding. So with that, last week, the Board of Commissioners approved some additional direct CARES funding allocation. Those were funds to our tourism segment and also the nonprofit segment. These are nonprofits that would not meet the eligibility requirements for the small grant program that I mentioned earlier. And these nonprofits are those that are delivering what we call basic support and services needs out in our community. So food, shelter, and transportation. So those were the decisions that the board has approved up until now. So today we're going to have some continued discussion about the remainder of the $40.5 million. So with that, first up for discussion is around the allocation category of healthcare services.
And for full public disclosure, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve for the purposes stated in Resolution 2020-23 and pursuant to the CARES Act, DCED, and federal guidelines, an allocation of a portion of the CARES Act funds for direct distribution to eligible health care service providers with residential facilities in York County. Providers shall receive a direct payment of up to $10,000 for eligible expenses. The facilities, including residential nursing, assisted living, and independent living facilities in York County. Such funds are to be used to assist the eligible facilities in purchasing or reimbursement for supplies necessary to prepare for and protect employees and the residents of their facilities from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The total cost of all the direct payments shall not exceed the amount of, and my recommendation is $410,000.
That's 10,000 apiece. I'll second the motion.
So I have a motion and a second. I think probably everyone that's watching is aware. We know that our long-term care facilities and personal care facilities have been hit very hard by the pandemic, requiring employees and residents to wear personal protective equipment, congregate settings, and so we know they've been dealing with a lot. In talking to our emergency management folks as well as people out in the community, we do feel there is a need to help these organizations. As Commissioner Hoke and Commissioner Smith seconded, there are 41 facilities that meet this criteria in our community, and it would be up to $10,000, so potential total allocation of $410,000. These facilities will have to meet the same requirements as everyone else who we are doing direct allocations for. They need to meet the DCED guidelines, and we'll certainly work with them to ensure they're submitting the right paperwork to Mr. Durr. So.
And I think we had these vetted by our legal department as far as their existence here in York County. And then, Commissioner Wheeler, I think we've done in the past, we will notify them of the allocation that's available for provided expenses.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So two other allocation categories that the commissioners approved back in July was a piece around local government and a piece around county government. Felicia Dell, if you're watching, thank you, and Phil Given from the city who led this committee for the Recovery Task Force. We certainly recognize that our local municipalities have been impacted by COVID, as well as our local fire and EMS organizations, especially those volunteer organizations. So today, we're here to discuss allocating funds for our local municipalities.
And once again, I'd like to make a motion to approve for the purposes stated in Resolution 2020-23 and pursuant to the CARES Act and DCD and federal guidelines, an allocation of a portion of the CARES Act funds to eligible municipalities for reimbursement of direct costs for diversion of resources due to the COVID-19 pandemic and to provide funds for the purchasing of supplies and equipment necessary to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. Total direct distributions to the York County municipalities shall not exceed $3 million and shall be allocated under a per capita basis for eligible expenses.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
And I think we've talked about this, the money came down for, obviously, to help local municipalities, townships and boroughs, fire departments, and other organizations in the community. We all had different numbers as far as what we thought was the amount, but I think the $3 million is a consensus, and I think will help those municipalities work through these times like we're all working through.
And as with the previous motion, we will work with the boroughs, the townships, the fire departments on making sure that they meet the DCED criteria. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. County government.
And I will make a motion to approve for the purposes stated in the Resolution 2020-23 and pursuant to the CARES Act, DCD, and federal guidelines, an allocation of a portion of the CARES Act funds for reimbursement of direct cost incurred by the County of York for government services expenses directly related to the COVID-19 pandemic to include PPE, supplies, equipment, and reimbursement of expenses for diversion of resources. Such reimbursement is in the amount of $4,656,890.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. For those watching, the amount that Commissioner Hoke is suggesting is the amount that's after we've been reimbursed from FEMA. So this is the amount that the county is reimbursing itself for expenses directly related to COVID-19. Mark Durr has prepared and suggested this number, and this is actual through July 2020. So I don't know if, Mark, you have any additional comments you wanted to share? Okay.
But I guess what I would just ask, and I think for the public to understand, is we still have some other funding that will accumulate over the next couple months through December 30th of 2020 that will be coming back and visiting this section again.
Right.
Right.
There's funding coming in from various sources for elections, from FEMA, from PEMA, and the CARES. So we've got to coordinate all those different resources.
I would echo what's been said, that we will continue to have expenses that the county incurs through the end of the year as we manage COVID-19. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The other thing we wanted to discuss today under other business, I think you saw a slide previously where the Board of Commissioners approved 2 feasibility studies, one around infrastructure and broadband and one around feasibility of a countywide health department. We mentioned at that meeting that we would go out and solicit proposals for those services. So next part of our discussion will be around the selection of the vendors that will execute those feasibility studies on behalf of the Board of Commissioners.
So I would like to make a motion to approve a dual feasibility study by Catapult Engineering and Business Information Group, which is BIG, to address rural and urban broadband needs for historically underserved communities and to determine gaps in the countywide broadband networks, and authorizing the York County Chief Clerk to enter into contracts with both entities regarding the design and build and the scope of work.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. For those of you that are watching that aren't aware, both of those organizations are York-based companies, so we're glad to be able to help support our local economy. And one of the charters of BIG and Catapult will be to look at what immediate tactics the Board of Commissioners can help take to improve the digital divide in our community. Further discussion?
And I guess, as you had said, we had already allocated $150,000, and as I understand, there's two companies and possibly two contracts which were vetted and actually what RFP was going out for, that the two contracts together will not exceed $150,000. Right?
Correct.
Yep. Okay.
And as with the county government one, pending the results of the feasibility study, the three commissioners will likely reconvene and determine whether or not we will allocate additional funding to that allocation category. So, with that, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then one more, the feasibility study around a countywide health department.
I will make a motion to approve the designation of Health Management Associates, HMA, to complete the feasibility analysis regarding a countywide public health and public health initiatives organization, and authorizing the York County Chief Clerk to enter into a contract with HMA regarding the scope of the analysis.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. As with the previous motion, we did solicit multiple bids out in the community. Health management has a long track record of doing these types of studies, and we're looking forward to partnering with them. They have got over 210 individuals that work in the organization, and their experience really has been in healthcare and around doing these types of things. They'll certainly be chartered with providing commissioners direction on what should the role be of a 21st century countywide health department. What type of public-private partnerships would potentially need to be in place to have a countywide health department? How are we going to continue to promote health and wellness in our community, things like that. So they come with a great reputation, and I think will be a good fit for the county. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. If I could ask Silas Chamberlain just to come up and maybe share some thoughts on the discussion we just had, and then if you could give the community an update on the grant process. I know the grant application is to go live on August 24th.
The week of August 24th.
Oh, the week of August 24th.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you. Week after week, you've been following through on the recommendations of the YOCO Strong Recovery Task Force. This week's no different. Supporting vulnerable populations in our nursing homes across the county was a big piece of the recommendations coming out of the task force. And of course, moving forward with the countywide health department feasibility study and the broadband study are key components of that. So thank you for continuing to move those forward quickly. And I'll second what Commissioner Wheeler said about the focus on the broadband being on implementable early action items that can provide access in the short term, both in our urban settings and in our rural settings in York County before the end of this year. So that's why those two companies stand out for their ability to move quickly, and we're excited to be able to move forward with them now. The grant program has been we've been doing a lot of outreach around it. I just checked in with our team this morning, and we've directly engaged with 300 businesses so far through webinars and business walks and direct one-on-one outreach. The goal so far has been to make sure everybody is aware of this program. So this week we started running our paid advertising campaign. So you'll start to see it on local television, internet, radio spots, web publications, things like that. And the week of the 24th, when the portal opens, it will remain open for 10 days. And so our goal so far has been to make sure everybody's aware that the portal will be open. We're providing checklists of what they can prepare now so that they aren't rushing to apply at that time. And really doing a lot of technical assistance. And you've heard several times now that we are working You mentioned it in the context of other programs, but working with DCD to figure out eligible expenses. And so a lot of it really is working one-on-one with business owners to make sure that they're applying for things that are truly eligible under the program. And we anticipate making 750 to 1,000 grants through this program, and that's roughly 10% of our eligible businesses in York County. So it has the potential to be very high impact and very important. So we continue to spread the word, and if you're watching at home, yocostrong.org is where you can go to find more information about grants up to $35,000 for your business or nonprofit.
Great, thank you. And just to remind the public that the commissioners will make the final decision on the grant recipients.
Thank you.
Okay. I have one other thing under other business for the history buffs that are out there. Maybe folks like Jim McClure are watching. So York County celebrated another birthday this year. On August the 17th, we became 271 years old. That was the date that the Provincial Assembly separated York County from Lancaster County and officially partitioned York as a new county. So we are 271 years old this week. So with that, if there's no other business, we'll move on to public comment. I know Kyle King had something to share from a public comment standpoint.
Thank you again, Commissioners, and sorry you have to listen to me for a few more minutes. I did want to make you aware, I came to you a couple of months ago requesting you to approve us in applying for a grant, and I'm here today to let you know that we have been awarded this competitive grant in the amount of $149,967. This grant will focus on 3 areas. It's going to allow us the purchase of a 3D laser scanner and peripherals to replace the existing outdated and out-of-service equipment, allowing for the processing of indoor and outdoor crime scenes. This will be a tool which will certainly be available to our forensic unit and any other municipal law enforcement agency within the County of York to assist in their crime scene techs, and then also to allow for ultimately better presentation if that case were to move forward and go to trial. Second, it'll allow us to apply some of that funding for Drug Task Force equipment that was much needed. And lastly, a one-time connection fee for our precious metals database, and that will allow connectivity of those contents to any criminal justice agency for anyone across the Commonwealth to get into that as long as they're on the COBRA system. So good information, and I just, again, thank you for allowing us to continue to seek these opportunities, and I just wanted to make you aware of that, so thank you.
Okay. Any other public comment? If you could please state your name and your municipality, and Michelle, we limit the comments to 5 minutes.
Janice Links. I'm from Lower Allen Township, but I'm here on behalf of the Sheepford Road Bridge, which is York County. So, good morning, and I'm glad to see that you are all well during this difficult time. As you know, a draft of the closure and removal study for the Sheepford Road Bridge was presented to Friends of Sheepford Road Bridge on July 2nd. We had hoped to have the opportunity of a second meeting to discuss the discrepancies in the report with information that we have obtained, ask questions, and present our own documented option for the bridge. As we have yet to receive a response to our letter dated July 17th, it seems that meeting is unlikely. However, we are still hoping to receive the information requested by Cumberland County Commissioner Fasci regarding safety concerns for the residents of Sheepford Road. That information includes a secondary police response study, police response times, and the issue of flooding on Sheepford Road between the bridge and Thompson Lane, the first intersection. It's our understanding that a working meeting will be held, possibly on September 15th, which will have room for public input. The Friends of Sheepford Road Bridge will be preparing a list of questions which we will provide prior to that meeting that we hope will be addressed. In the meantime, I'd like to provide you with some information that might prove helpful to you as you make your decisions. Today, I'm going to focus on the pipeline. We have stated again and again our concerns regarding the pipeline as it affects our community, so I thought I might provide you with a visual. I'm sorry it's low tech, but it is low tech, and it is a sign. So what I hope to show you is, this is...
Janice, could you
Yeah.
maybe turn it this way so the folks can get a picture of it for the people watching? Yeah, okay. Okay, all right, thanks.
So the Yellow Breeches Creek is right here, and the bridge would be located right here. The distance between the bridge and Thompson Lane is 3,500 feet. And the distance between Thompson Lane and the pipeline is 100 feet. Those figures are according to the closure and removal study. The pipeline parallels Thompson Lane and is visible from the road in many places up until past High Meadow Lane. So I didn't attempt to draw it out completely, but you can see it from the road at various points until you get here. And then it starts to veer off. The issue just isn't about the intersection here. Everyone's saying, well, if there's some kind of an incident, likely or unlikely, you know, if we can't cross here, we're going to come down Thompson Lane and we're going to cut through this field and we'll get to all the people who live here. In the event of a pipeline incident, likely or unlikely, there'll be no access to Thompson Lane, never mind using it as an evacuation route. So how would you be able to come down this road, which parallels this pipeline, if there was an incident here? I guess that's what I'm trying to make you see. And that's our point as it relates to that. The area in the corner where Thompson meets Sheaford is a field that is proposed as emergency access for rescue vehicles. We don't believe they'll even be able to get to the field. And as an aside, I believe it's classified as wetlands and it's often underwater. So my purpose is, just as we've been saying this all along, you know, we just wanted you to see why we're actually concerned about it. Because it's proposed that this is going to be the evacuation route for us, since we can't go this way because the bridge is gone. So we're being told that if there was an incident, we would be driving out this way towards the pipeline where the incident is. And we say that we probably would not be able to get emergency assistance through there. So I just wanted you guys to have the image to go with the words that we've been saying. We've met with Joshua Snyder from TransEnergy and Matt Gordon, Senior Director of Operations for TransEnergy. Prior to our meeting, Mr. Gordon spoke at a Lower Allen Township meeting. I'll be sending you a link to the meeting so you can hear his response to Lower Allen Township Commissioner Shin's question about what would happen if there was a pipeline incident. I was going to edit it so you wouldn't have to hear the whole meeting, but I thought you might want more information for context. I will note the time where that conversation takes place. I know you are extremely busy, but I hope you will take a moment to view it. I hope to see you at your next meeting where I will present further information. And I'd like to add that you are not held to the previous decision made by a different board to use Section 2634 of the County Code to allow this bridge to be closed. And even if in favor of that decision when it was made, perhaps the increased awareness of on a national level of the importance of our history, a societal shift towards preservation, and the voices of your constituents wanting to hold on to a piece of their past might influence your ultimate vote. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned, and we will move on to Salary Board.
I'll make a motion to approve the positions, salaries, hours of work, and fringe benefits as provided by existing collective bargaining agreements or as set forth in the York County Employee Handbook or York County Policy Manual for the following departments and row offices with no additional benefits or concessions unless otherwise noted, as stated in the internal salary board detail. Department 24, Human Resources, Department 32, Adult Probation, Department 70, Emergency 911, and the row offices, Department 51, Sheriff, and Department 53, Pathonetary.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And I make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned, and I'll call to order the York County Retirement Board.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting held on August 5th, 2020 as submitted.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Make a motion to include the following vested individual on the monthly annuity payment list as listed below. Deborah C. Avery, aging.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Make a motion to include the following individuals on the monthly annuity payment list as listed below. George A. Oswald, MHIDD, Billy R. Klein, Prison, Ricky W. Hilt, YDC, Sally W. Clovis, Voters, Rosalind R. Launchman, MHIDD, and Donald R. Lauer, Jr., Probation.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve reimbursement of health and dental insurance for the following retiree. Shauna J. Longione, $5,339.52 for the period covered 3/3/12 to 7/31/2020.
I have a motion and a second.
I guess, Greg, just why is this on here? I guess I haven't seen this before.
This is a situation, I'm surprised it hasn't come up before, but when people retire, they retired and they had their dependents covered. The dependent passed away and we were never notified about it, so she continued to pay for the dependent share of the health and the dental. And we finally found out about it, so she deserves to be reimbursed for this, and we're going to put in procedures now to make sure that doesn't happen again.
I was going to say, that could happen often.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah.
And it might have happened in the past and nobody even knew about it.
Okay,
So
sounds good.
we'll get it corrected.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. I don't believe there were any
No
executive
executive
sessions.
session since the last time?
Open it up for public comment. Ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
A motion, a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Be safe and be well.